We're here with Larry from HP. Larry, we all know the importance of a good color accurate monitor for doing color grading, for doing color accurate workflows. There's not a ton of options out there that are affordable. The Dreamcolor has always been a great monitor for high-end production companies.
Right.
Not necessarily attainable for everybody, but I know that you guys are not changing that.
That's right, exactly. The previous Dreamcolor display, the LP2480ZX, had been at a $2,500 price point for about 5 years. And in that time, it became really the gold standard at the major animation studios and visual effects studios, as you mentioned. And in fact, we're very proud that the last 3 Oscars for visual effects were done the films were done on Dreamcolor displays. So we're very happy with that heritage. And yesterday, we announced 2 new products that'll replace that previous product, the Z27x at $14.99, and yeah, you see it there, and the Z24x at $5.99. So we've come down to roughly half the price and below a fourth of the price of the original product. And even with those price reductions, we've increased the internal data precision up to 14 bits, so we get really accurate 10-bit output, over 1 billion colors on screen, and some other features as well. So we really have made it affordable and up the bar in performance as well.
So now, for plugging these into your computer, is there anything special, any special output that you need to have hardware-wise on the computer end?
Yeah, we support DisplayPort and HDMI on both products, and as well DVI on the 24-inch, and we support Windows, Linux, and Mac platforms for both monitors.
Very good. All right, so plug and play, fairly easy to use for anyone, no matter what system that you're working on. What makes the main key differences between the 27 and the 24?
Okay, so the 27-inch has 60% more pixels. It's 2560 by 1440 versus 1920 by 1200. So about 2.5K physical pixels. However, another difference is we can input 4K into the 27-inch and either scale it down or show you one-to-one and let you pan and zoom. And in fact, we're doing that here. We're showing the 24-inch as the UI monitor for Adobe Premiere, and we're using the 27-inch as a 4K preview where we're showing you one-to-one, and this is the full frame here, and I can pan and zoom within that full frame if you wanted to zoom in on a certain area and check the focus, for example. You can pause it and move around within that frame. So it's a very powerful feature and a very affordable price point for a 4K capable monitor.
Absolutely. So now for the 24, that's definitely at $599. It brings it into a whole new realm for anyone that's even just starting off. They finally get a copy of Resolve. They're wanting to start doing grading, and they need to have something that they can actually trust their eyes to.
Absolutely.
What kind of technology is this? This is an IPS display?
Yeah, they're both second generation IPS, which means lower power, better energy efficiency, 1,000-to-1 contrast ratio. The Z27X adds to that what we call HP Ultra Black technology, which gives you what we call CRT class black levels, both head-on and at a wide range of viewing angles. That's a technology we had on the previous Dreamcolor. That's why it became the gold standard. One of the key reasons it had staying power for so long is that people love the black level, and we carried that technology into the big brother, the 27-inch. Additionally, as far as calibration, we've made that really easy. I'll just grab this. Both monitors support the HP Dreamcolor calibration solution. It's $249, HP web price. It's a precision colorimeter, very easy to use. The software runs on Windows for the Z24x, but the Z27x goes a step further and has an integrated calibration engine, a built-in microprocessor that does, you plug the colorimeter into the monitor itself, and no software required, so it doesn't matter if it's Windows, Linux, Mac, or no host at all. Very easy to calibrate. Additionally, the Z27X supports third-party pro-class color instruments from Photo Research, Konica Minolta, and Klein instruments. So the high-end studios that want access to really high-performance color instruments can plug them in, plug and play, really fast. Really good.
Great. Thanks for your time, Larry.
Thank you.
This is Sean with NextWaveDV. We are still at the HP booth, but we're going to be going on a different side of it, not the monitor, but Jim, you have a SSD here that plugs in right into your PCI Express ports, the Z Turbo Drive.
Yes.
Can you talk about this a little bit and tell us the advantages of having one of these in your system?
Yeah, definitely, Sean. The advantage of this is that it's connected directly to the PCIe bus, and so it no longer is throttled at the SATA bus speeds. And so the performance that you get out of this is greater than 1 gigabyte per second.
Okay, wow. That's pretty good.
It's very significant.
Yeah, just out of one SSD there. And what sizes do you offer?
Yeah, so we will offer the 256 gigabyte and the 512 gigabyte for this launch.
Are you able to add multiple into one unit?
Absolutely. So you can add multiple up to the number of slots that are available,
Right.
given other slot components that you have.
You can put that in. You said that it's a 4, right? You can put it into a by 4.
Yeah, the minimum is a by 4 slot
Okay.
to enable full performance.
But you can fit that into a by 8 and by 16.
Absolutely.
And still use it. Okay.
Yep.
All right. And you're saying you can put multiple in there. Are you able to do any type of rating with that or rate options with that? Is it?
Yes. Yeah. You can get the full performance if you use RAID 0, and we've seen performances, upwards of 3 gigabyte per second.
Okay. Wow. That's
Yeah.
pretty good. Is it so? Is it software RAID then? Is it one of your software RAID, or
Yeah.
is there
So
a
it's a
controller
Windows. It's a Windows RAID.
It is just
that's
a
used.
Windows RAID. Okay.
Yes.
All right. And then what are the advantages to be able to have that in your system?
Well, so the advantages for large files are obvious.
Mm-hmm.
It reduces your time significantly. The performance of this type of SSD is twice that of a standard commercial SATA SSD, and then the big benefit is if you're running hard drives today, the benefit is you get to run 6 times faster than your hard drive. So with large files, it makes a significant benefit.
So you can move your large files from storage on like RAID 5 or something like that onto this for editing, and playing it back in real time, working with it, and then. So
Yes.
that's what it's mainly designed for. Is
That's totally where we're at. This is where the
Okay.
industry's going, and I really believe that this is required as the media industry goes to 4K and the
Right.
large file sizes there.
And you have one in this unit right here, which is actually playing back 4K, right? Streaming live right in Adobe Premiere?
Yeah, that's exactly correct, and you can see that it's very smooth. It's not choppy at all. Showing off the Dreamcolor displays that we've got here.
All right, so being able to use these with large data files is awesome. Are you able to also boot from this drive?
Yes, so this is able to be used as a boot drive and as a data drive, and we talked about putting in multiple of these as well. In addition, you can use these to, with other drives, whether it's other SSDs or high-capacity drives, to increase the storage solution in your workstation.
Okay, and are these available right now?
So we're announcing them today, and they become available shipping in May.
Okay.
The price for the 256 gigabyte version is list price is $499, and for the 512 gigabyte version, the list price is $899.
All right, that's great. Thank you very much, Jim.
Very
Appreciate
good.
your time.
Thank you.
We're still at HP. We're here with Christian. They were talking to us about RGS, which can you tell us a little bit about RGS, what it does, and the potential uses for it?
Yeah, absolutely. So HP RGS, or remote graphics software, it's something that it's a software solution that HP's had for about 10 years now, and it's specifically for remote access and remote control of your workstation, specifically with really graphic-intensive applications for video or 3D modeling and that kind of stuff.
So it's like because I use a remote desktop, but it's not really that great. You've got like 6-bit color and everything. It's not really designed for speed. So, what's different about your remote?
Right. So
system?
this has an HP proprietary codec in it that's developed specifically to give you a fluid, just like local feel for those really graphically demanding applications.
Okay.
So you could think of it as like an RDP, a remote desktop on steroids for this market.
Okay.
Also, it's been used a lot for collaboration because multiple users can be connecting in to share their screen. So if you're a designer, an animator, or an editor, and you want to share your work, other people can connect into your workstation and even control it to collaborate.
Okay. And now this only works over a local network. Is that correct?
No, it actually works over a wide area network as well, as long as you can VPN in or just get on the same network. We have people using this across country boundaries and all sorts of different combinations of connections.
How does the quality of the stream hold up in those conditions?
So obviously the network is always going to dictate the experience to some extent. Over the last year, we've incorporated something called HP Velocity, which is a quality of service tool that does a live measurement of a lot of the things that are going on over the network and optimizes them and changes a lot of different things to fix things like packet loss and latency, so that for the end user, the frame rate bumps up and it's a lot more fluid of an experience for them.
And you said too that you're using a proprietary. What's the word I'm looking for? You're compressing it. You're actually processing the video for it using a proprietary engine.
Codec, yeah.
Codec.
It's
It's
an intelligent codec that actually it looks at your whole screen, and it looks at the part of the screen that's changing, and it's just going to compress and encode and send that. So it's
pretty
not
fast,
sending the whole
yeah.
screen, and that reduces the bandwidth when we do it that way.
Awesome. And then what kind of devices? Is it just PCs or?
I'm glad you asked. It's used a lot with connecting mostly to workstations or Blade or server graphics enabled workstations, perhaps in the data center. But on the client side, it could be almost any PC, even a thin client.
Okay.
And what we're announcing today, what's new is in RGS version 7, we're announcing support for tablets.
Okay. Wow.
And it's an interesting combination because, a tablet, you don't have your keyboard and you don't have your mouse.
Right. So how do you? Yeah, exactly. How do you manipulate like something like you have 3ds Max up right now?
I actually got Maya.
Maya. Okay.
Which I thought would be a great example of something you would never want to run from a tablet.
Right. So how does that work?
So what we've done is we've tried to figure out how we could overcome the obstacles of not having your keyboard and mouse, but still let you use these applications that are not touch-based. And what we've done is we've allowed users to do a handful of things. One, I don't know if you can see this, but the buttons compared to my finger, they don't line up. Buttons are way too small.
You're going to be hitting stuff you don't want.
So you can easily just quickly zoom in on what you're interested in, hit your button, and then fly back out to get what you are. So that's one aspect. The other thing is, you need the keyboard, right? You need the keyboard to hit hotkeys.
Right.
A professional is going to be hitting that every 20, 30 seconds. Now you can customize the gestures to do what you want. So if I do a swipe down, it changes the texture of the screen to, ultimately I can just kind of go back and forth
you're
here.
going back through shading and the texturing.
I can go to this little skateboard here, and I can go left and right, and it changes the context of the tool. So now I could go ahead, zoom in, and now start rotating this skateboard is what I'm doing.
Oh, cool.
So you actually can start to do some content creation. Even Control-Z for undo, you can map that to the gestures like a tap.
Okay.
So we've made it so that you can customize all these gestures. Essentially what you're doing is turning a Linux or Windows 7 application into a touch-based Windows 8 application. And it works with any application.
That's pretty neat. So any application, you just have to program the gestures to be the keyboard shortcuts you want.
You can map it to any application.
Awesome. And is this something that's available right now?
So right now we have RGS version 6 in a month. RGS version 7 with all these tablet features is going to be released. And it's actually included for free on all of our HP Z workstations.
Oh, okay.
So when you buy an HP workstation, you're essentially also buying remote access from any device to that workstation. We sell it for about its list of $200 for other hardware.
Okay. Wow. That's good. Thank you very much for your time, Christian.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Sean.
it.
Special thanks to our sponsors for making our NAB coverage possible.